Welcome to the Love Your Life and Yourself podcast, the weekly show where science meets soul and mom chaos meets mind mastery. You're not just a mom. You're a woman with dreams, a career, a body that needs care, and a soul that craves more. This podcast is your permission slip to stop surviving and start thriving in motherhood, health, career, and stress resilience. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley Rath, and every week we bring you actionable insights and transformative conversations to help you create a life you truly love. From evidence-based wellness strategies to authentic self-discovery, we'll explore what it takes to thrive through expert interviews and real unfiltered stories. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I am excited to join you today as a solo episode as we talk about rushing, hurrying, all the things. Let's get real. Why are we in such a damn hurry? For real. Everything we do is, I don't have enough time. I have to go here. I have to rush here. We're in this unhealthy relationship with time. And if you guys listen to episode 1, if you haven't, go back and listen to my story about Bo, where I had this aha moment of trying to multitask, distraction, and this gut punch moment of realizing I was missing what actually mattered. And I was in this perpetual state of do more, do more, do more. Yet I was emotionally drained, high functioning, but just in a stress mode all the time because I was so overwhelmed. And we have this such unhealthy relationship with time. And really, to break it all down, it really starts back with how capitalism really shifted us from this like task-based system to a clock-based system. So let me describe it. So Edward B. Thompson in 1967 published Time, Work Discipline, and Industrial Capitalism. And in this essay, Thompson explored the changes of how society generally perceived time between the 18th and the 19th centuries. So this was around the time where there was a rise in capitalism, which he considered a pivotal point between people having task-oriented approach and a time management and living their lives dictated by the clock. So what we are seeing is this shift increased stress on the working schedules, and it became more rigid, and there was honestly less time for leisure and relaxation. And he also noticed another paradox in human behavior. And what it is that we believe that if we have more time because we get more efficient, that we would spend that in leisure. But it's actually an illusion that we keep on chasing the work harder and harder, no matter how much extra time that we actually have, which is crazy to think about. So this shift happened a long time ago. And especially as, Henry Ford also plays a role in that of having an actual timeline of when people started working and ended working. And you can read all about that. But the thing about time is that there's actually so much research of how unhealthy this quote hurry sickness is. And so we talked about cortisol, we talked about chronic stress and burnout. And if you haven't, go back to the previous 3 episodes. It's crucial in understanding this because we really have to understand how this constant state of rush and hurrying is affecting all other aspects of our entire system, or our entire health, our mentally emotional state, etc. And you're talking to really like the efficiency time queen. Like I grew up on an organic dairy farm where time was there wasn't a lot of it. And so when we woke up in the morning, we had to do chores before we went to school. So we woke up, did chores, came in, went to school with wet hair, showered because we smelled like barn, went to school, After school, we had practice for the sports, except for game nights. So that's the only time we got out of chores. But when we got home, we needed to eat in about 15 minutes to be able to get out to do chores. Because at 5:30, that milk machine started, right? And we always knew when it started if we were still in the house because the lights flickered a little bit in just like for a split second as the barn turned on. And we knew that we were supposed to be outside at that time. And if not, we needed to rush and hurry, essentially scarf our food down to be able to get out there. And there's never enough time to do it all. There was constantly more work than we could ever finish on a farm. And so this underlining state of hurrying and rushing and doing more to get more done to hopefully have more success got ingrained in me at a very, very young age. I still to this day am not a slow eater. I'm way too fast of an eater. I don't always chew my food, which is something that I need to be more conscious of, but it's trickled down in my whole life. And like I told you about Bo, when I was nursing Faith and telling the kids, let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, we got to get ready. We got to get ready. And I snapped at him in that moment. You realize, and sometimes, I mean, you don't need a moment to change, right? Like, this could be, if you're looking for a sign to slow down, like, this is it. You're listening. This is it. And so, in that moment, though, I needed that pain of yelling at my own kid to hurry up to realize, gosh, I am doing something wrong. And I started to notice where else it was showing up in my life. I started to notice that when I drive, if there's two lanes and we're stopped at a stoplight and there's a semi in front of us, I go to the next lane, right? Like, I can't be alone on this. I'm like, gosh, semis are slow accelerators. Like, I need to get there faster. Or in the grocery store, you are analyzing every single row to be able to check out, thinking, okay, which line's not just the shortest, but looking at how many items that person has, because the more items, obviously, the longer it's going to take, right? And if you're smiling and giggling, I know it's true for you because it is. We are in this constant state of hurrying and rushing, and we live in a world with no margin. And when I talk about margin, that means our schedules are so freaking jammed packed that there's no gaps for any sort of margin if something happens. And what we do is we try to do more in the shortest amount of time possible. And it's killing us. Maybe not today, but it's killing us in our health, in our relationships, in our finances, in our peace and joy and happiness, right? So this impact it has is so much deeper than just like time. Now, what we have tried to do is compress time, but also we have this fear of missing out. So not only are we rushing and hurrying, but we've overcommitted, overscheduled, and we have this comparison game that we play from people's highlighted reels that we see on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, thinking, gosh, if I don't do this, I'm a failure. Or if I don't, send my kid to this sport or that camp, I'm depriving them. Like, we're not doing enough. And so, is it the fear of missing out? Is it lack of margin? Is it overscheduling? Is it just this constant state of rushing and hurrying that got programmed subconsciously into your brain? Is it the never ending stimuli of tech, right? Social media, emails, constantly dinging? Like, someone is, or something is always grabbing our attention, constantly telling us we need to pay attention instead of just being. Does that make sense? So, when we actually start to realize what's happening in this constant state of hurrying. They actually called it hurry sickness now. Like, if you want to research it, Friedman and Rosenman back in 1974, they actually labeled it. And you can find some research that shows it. So they use this term to describe the state when the body is in a high, essentially stress hormone, cortisol state for long periods of time. And we know from the previous episodes when we talked about that HPA axis, this causes all sorts of health concerns such as heart disease, depression, burnout, and it can start to really take an effect on your relationships because this fast paced lifestyle keeps you from having enough time to actually invest in meaningful relationships, romantic relationships, and the things that fill your bucket. And I did some research when I was looking to do this podcast episode. So I have a whole chapter in my book. So if you want to dive deeper into the hurry sickness, chapter, gosh, what chapter is it? 4, 5, something like that. I break down all the research of what hurrying and rushing actually do to you. And I broke down some of the research, so I'm going to go through that research, not like line by line, but kind of share with you what that hurrying and rushing can do from a bigger picture standpoint to both your cognitive, your physical, and your emotional state. So when we are stuck in this hurrying, the cognitive impact, and this is again research backed, go into my book for all the articles, but it actually starts to affect your executive function under a time pressure. So when you feel like you are rushing and hurrying, and here's the deal, you have to start to become aware of if you actually are and how much that rushing can affect it. So this one is a huge one for me. When I am feeling rushed or hurried, I you have so let me back up. Research shows that the cognitive impact of rushing reduces focus, it reduces emotional regulation, and it reduces decision making. The physical consequences are high blood pressure, artery damage, organ strain, and sleep disturbances. These are just some of them, not all of them, obviously. And the emotional consequences are burnout, emotional fatigue, anxiety, depression, and addiction. This is insanity to me. Just by hurrying, we are seeing this massive impact. So people ask me, well, how can I reduce my anxiety? How can I become more stress resilient? I'm telling you, you have to ruthlessly eliminate hurry. And those words aren't mine. I actually learned this back when we went to, it was kind of a mega church. There was a pastor that did a whole sermon and it was named like Ruthlessly Eliminate Hurry. And the fact that you have to be ruthless about it is just how big of a problem it is. Like, you can't just like try to eliminate hurry or, I'm going to maybe try to do it or, oh, well, this is where I could kind of do it. Like, you have to be so intentional because it's almost like it's an addiction. When you can do more and feel like you can do more and get more done, it's like, oh, if I cram this in here, I can just like do it and I'll, be more successful. And I'm telling you, the last year and a half has been the most, I would say, financially successful my businesses have ever been. And it is the most I have ever slowed down in my life. I used to have a coach, her name was Demi. And I met with her virtually because she coached in Utah. And she had this picture of a tortoise, and it was a painting, And behind her, it was this tortoise. And what was on top of it was a glass vase. The glass vase was like strapped on top of the tortoise's back. And one of the things that she constantly told me was, Ashley, you have got to slow down. And I'm like, why? Like, I'm doing good. Like, I'm high functioning. I got my stuff, like my poops in a group. Like, I got this. And everyone that I've always talked to is like, Ashley, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. And then the other part of me is like, well, Grant Cardone, like 10x, the more I do, the more results I'm going to get. Or Alex Hormozy, which I love. Like, I love both of them. I'm not bashing them, but 10x, do more, do more. Like, the more you fail, the more you're going to win, which there is some truth to that. But then you have to pause and realize, like, at what cost? Right? Like, I think some people can do that and still be very, very healthy. But I'm telling you, the more I have slowed down and the more I have been intentional and aware with my day, the happier I am, the more joyful I am, and the less anxiety I have. Like, I feel like I'm not typically an anxious person, but I have noticed by wearing my Aura ring that when I am rushed and trying to do too much in too little a time, my heart rate goes up. I don't know if my blood pressure, but I assume my blood pressure goes up if my heart rate and respirations are increasing. Like, it has such a physiological effect, and I feel more anxious. I have more stress response. I have more cortisol pumping through my body solely because I'm rushing. I'm trying to do too many things in a short amount of time, and it's literally killing me. How do you think it would be? Like, let's just like wave a magic wand here and pretend. Like, what would actually happen if we started to slow down? Do you think actually less would get done? I I thought that at first, that if I slowed down, like, well, it's not going to get done then, right? Like, it's just not going to get done. But what I realized is that I actually became more creative. I became better at making decisions. I became more stress resilient. I had less sleep disturbances. So even if I got shorter amount of sleep, I was sharper in the shorter amount of sleep because I wasn't rushing the next day. And I had less burnout and physical fatigue because I wasn't saying, oh, I have no time. That's one thing that you're rushing too much if you constantly find yourself in that thought process and saying, I don't have enough time. How many times do you say that in a day? I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to eat healthy. I don't have enough time to work out. I don't have enough time to XYZ, whatever that looks like for you. You're telling yourself, again, right? Go back to the previous episodes where we talked about how our thoughts create our reality. If you're saying, I don't have enough time, your reality is going to reflect that. Your reality is going to show you, you don't have enough time. I'm going to show you all the ways where you don't have enough time because you're saying it. You're going to notice that more. So start changing the way you think about time. If you continue to say time is a thief, it will show you how time is stealing from you. Or you can look at it a completely different way. Your words and your thoughts that you put in your head are so powerful that just that practice in itself, becoming aware of those thoughts, and if you're saying I'm tired or time is a thief or I don't have enough time or I'm in a hurry, I got so much to get done and I don't think I'm going to get it done. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for anxiety, overwhelm, overscheduled, and lots of health issues. So we need to slow down and figure out, what are your triggers, right? We have to realize What is causing the rush? Are we overscheduling ourselves? Do we have a routine that just is not sustainable? Are our expectations higher than what is actually achievable? Where do you need to say no and set a boundary, even in the good things? Do you have straight up FOMO for so many things? I know I do occasionally. I've gotten better at saying no and allowing that margin to happen. You need to carve out those margins. Setting up back to back to back to back to back meetings or schedules where there's absolutely no margin in your day. That's where your sanity is going to flight away. It's literally going to fly away. You're not going to have any sanity back if you don't have any time to even think. Also, for you perfectionists out there, done beats perfect. Stop overanalyzing. If it's pretty good, we're good. Submit. End. Don't overthink it. Also, setting routines up. Who can you team up with? Who can you barter with? What can you systemize to create more margin within your life? What are you doing out of fear of falling behind? So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing to say no to this week and say it with love and no apology. That's all I have for you. Ruthlessly eliminate hurry. All the love. Thanks for tuning in to Love Your Life and Yourself. I hope today's episode gave you one more tool or one more truth to help you thrive in your health, happiness, and resilience. Remember, loving yourself isn't selfish, it's leadership. And it's the foundation for building a life that actually feels like yours. If this spoke to you, hit that follow button, leave a review, and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. And if you want to dive even deeper, grab a copy of my #1 best-selling book, Love Your Life and Yourself. It's the heart behind this podcast, and it's helped thousands of women step into a life they actually love. You can find it at drashleyrath.com or through the link in the show notes. Until next time, take care of you and keep choosing to love your life and yourself.